Hi, and welcome to the VR Gaming podcast and commentary about VR gaming, VR news, VR hardware, and VR reviews. I'm your host, Nick Lane, and with me, as always, is Justin Davis. Justin, happy Saturday. How the hell are you?
Hey, Nick. I've been up since 6 a.m. chasing a 2-year-old around, so I'm thrilled to be sitting here doing this now. This is way easier.
Dude, you gotta be wide awake then. You're like halfway through your day.
I know. Yeah, I'm wide awake right now, and I had coffee, so yeah, I'm good to go.
Me too. I like doing it. There's the nice thing about doing it on a weekend is like it's not like you have to go through a full day of work, and you can really use the focus and energy now. So speaking of focus and energy, Justin gets to kick it off with his monthly recap, which is always a really good exhaustive list. And this is my favorite part of the podcast because I'm learning from you right now, and I'm really curious to see what's out there in case I miss something good. So shoot.
Okay, so one of the biggest things that happened this past month was there was a Cyberpunk 2077 mod that was released by Luke Ross. He's this guy. He does a lot of mods. Like I did a full playthrough of Horizon Zero Dawn with one of his mods, and he did Red Dead Redemption 2 and the Mafia games and some others too. And GTA 5 he did. Well, so you have to be a Patreon member to get his mods, and I played it, and it runs okay, but you have to put everything on low, and you're gonna need a pretty good PC to even do that. So, I did a video of it so you could see, but in the video you can't tell what my VR performance is like. It looks, way better in the video, but it's playable. And he keeps updating it because there's some like weird control quirks, and he just is continually updating it. So if you're big into that game, Cyberpunk, then yeah, I would recommend it. But like, don't expect it to run well. I don't know. Maybe wait till you can get like a 4080 or a 4090 or whatever the hell is going to come next.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I mean, here's the thing. It's like you can throw these really good cards at it, but if it's not kind of optimized for VR from the ground up, then it sort of doesn't matter that much, right? Like that's the thing.
Yeah, I just bought a 3080 Ti, and I already had a 3080, but EVGA sent me an email saying, "Hey, we've just gotten this card available for you," and I was like, "Oh shit." I guess I'm gonna do it because it's not often that I actually can buy a card at retail. So I bought it and sold my 3080, but like it's not a big difference. At best, there might be 10 more frames per second, maybe, but it's hard. It's really hard to tell a difference. So
yeah, that's interesting because I'm on my 2080, which came out in 2018, right? It's not new. But I feel like if I'm playing a game and it's not performing well, it's usually the game is not optimized, right? Like because
definitely
most things right now that is still, it's not necessarily overkill, but it's more than enough for flat games. It's more than enough for VR games. I'm certainly tempted to, like, imagine a world where the 4000 series is available and you can actually purchase it for the retail price. I probably would get it and sell the other one, but even then, I'm like, I wonder how much of an improvement it's really going to make with what we're kind of given as games right now and how demanding the games are.
I bought the 3080 Ti expecting that when the 4080 and 4090 come out, I won't be able to buy one anyway. So I was like, well, let me just get this. And the reason I got it was, all these flat to VR mods, they are, a lot of them, most of them are really, really resource intensive. And I wanted everything I could throw at them. So that's why I got it. It was probably stupid because like that cost me like $500 over my 3080.
So you make money selling because you got that at retail, right? So you're probably able to sell your 3080, right? And
actually, I didn't buy the 3080. It was
you got
it
as a gift. Yeah,
I got it as a gift, and that was over retail. That might have been $1,200.
Jesus.
The 3080 sold on eBay for less, and the 3080 Ti retail was 15 something.
Ooh, Jesus, man.
Yeah, I'm a little crazy.
I get it. Like I have that like kind of temptation. I I'm able to kind of squash that emotionally. I'm always tempted for a
Hmm.
second, but yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. See that it was because it was an email from EVGA. I was like, oh, this doesn't happen very often.
Yeah,
I don't know.
crazy times, man.
Yeah. So then Vox Machinae, I put over 10 hours into that, and we'll talk about that. I did a video of that too. Resident Evil 2, I played all the way through that in VR, and that was awesome. I used a smooth. It's not just smooth locomotion. What it does is, in this, one of the problems with the mod is there's this left to right head bob, and I'm sure you noticed that when you played.
Yeah, it's
And
annoying.
yeah, this mod smooths it out, so like it's smooth, just like Half-Life Alex, basically.
You have to get
Um,
like download a mod installer, right? But I'm sure that's like super easy.
you don't have to do the mod installer, but it's better to because with the mod installer you can just click a button and turn it on and off. Whereas if you just drop the file in, which you can do, it says it on Nexus mods that you can just drop the file in there instead. But then you'd have to like delete the file and then or move the file out and then move the file back in. And that fluffy manager is easier to use, I think.
Okay, fair
Um,
enough. Yeah.
yeah. And there's also a high res textures mod. I didn't really notice much difference, so I don't think you should even bother. But yeah, that was awesome. Oh, but one issue with that smooth mod is that there were some crashes that I was getting, and I talked to the guy that made that mod, and I sent him my save files, and he figured out what the issue was, and he just released a 1.1 version where he fixed it. So
Dude, that's you're doing a lot for the community. That's awesome. Seriously.
yeah, and now that he's figured that out, he said now I'm gonna do Resident Evil 3. He's gonna make that smooth. So I don't know if I want to wait for that. He said that'll. I don't know. That could take a couple weeks to get that done. Because he said there's like 2,000 different frames of animation that he has to edit, and a lot of it's manual work to make that work.
Holy shit.
I don't
It's
know.
worth it though. I mean, that
Yeah,
drove me nuts when I played it. I tried
yeah,
it and it's I had to play with the graphics a lot. It just was getting in reprojection land and
yeah.
had to really just kind of do a lot of like trial and error to get it to work just kind of okay. And then
Hmm.
I got the frame rate working okay, still like reprojection land for the most part. But yeah, the head bob is super annoying.
Yeah,
I hate clicking on the stick to run, which you got to run in that game because you know how the controllers are in Index, right?
yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if you can easily change the binding on that, or what
There,
I would change it to.
there's some custom bindings. I saw one where you hold the trigger to run, so maybe that one.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for that tip. I'm gonna have to look into that.
There was also a binding where if you just press the left analog stick all the way forward, it makes you run. But that one I was finding really hard to use. It was making me because sometimes when you run and then change direction fast, did you felt yourself getting like all bound up and like acting weird?
Not really. I mean, the
All
game
right.
is. I mean, Resident Evil's kind of jank to begin with in some ways, and then
Yeah.
you try to make a mod on top of it. Like I probably have like an hour and a half into it, maybe at
Hmm.
most, and it's weird too. Like the graphics, I don't have the high res thing, but the graphics look like really good in some areas, and then just really bad in some areas. Like it's all over the
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, the characters especially look really good, but then there are some textures on the wall that look extremely low res. Um,
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
not a VR thing, like
Yeah,
that I'm
that's
aware of.
Capcom just yeah,
I
not
don't know.
worrying about those textures, I guess.
It just makes me like really wish that Capcom did this and made a really good VR game, like like what they did with like whoever did the Quest 2 version of Resident Evil 4,
Hmm.
right? Like, cause man, I'd love to play this in good graphics in VR that's optimized and was not just kind of somebody. Which God bless them taking the time to mod it, because it's like it's so close and yet it's also so far, and like
Hmm.
I my tolerance for jank these days is like there's barely any gas in that tank.
Yeah, and there's a rumor that Resident Evil 4 that they're working on that, like making a remake for that. So if that actually comes out, then I'm sure we'll end up getting a mod for that too, for PC.
Yeah, yeah.
So I also got to try Resident Evil 7 with motion controls. This isn't out publicly yet, but I got to test it and that worked really well. I mean, the motion controls and everything, and it was room scale because the public one right now, there's no room scale and there's no motion controls. You have to use a gamepad. But what I got to try was worked really well. But again, performance is an issue. I think I tried it on my 3080. I can't remember if it was a 3080 or 3080 Ti. And once I got to the scene, there's a scene where you're around a dinner table with that crazy ass psycho family. And once I was walking around that area, it was like, oh, this performance is bad. And but the settings were up high. I didn't get to mess with that. You got to get the settings lower for Resident Evil 7. So then Population 1, I tried this new Metropolis map. And it's like way more vertical, and there are bounce pads where you can bounce up really high. I like the bounce pads a lot. What did you think about those?
Totally. That's a thing
Yeah.
from
Half-Life?
no, what's it called? Fortnite. But yeah,
Oh, it is?
it's great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the Metropolis map is like all about this is a word, verticality.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very
Yeah.
vertical map, and it's really cool. Really, really, really good job with that.
Did you have a hard time figuring out where the hell you were? And like, I guess because it's a brand new map, we don't know where to go.
Yeah, I mean, you can always pull up the map and kind of get a sense
Yeah.
of where you go. You know, I'm always kind of focused on being in the square and stuff. You know, but
Uh-huh.
I think it's just a testament to like there's a lot going on, and it's it's really well done. And
Mm-hmm.
I love Population One. Like the fact that they just keep on working on it, building on it. It's got a really really strong community. Such a great game. It looks
Yeah,
like
it is.
it looks like ass, but like
Yeah.
you know, for the fact that you and I have you have like a beast video card and we're playing on PC, and I'll talk more about that. But yeah, it looks like ass.
Yeah. And this new mod broke the vest.
It did.
Yeah.
Understandable. So like
Yeah.
the mod they'll eventually fix it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I also played Ragnarok with the vest. With the vest, that game is so much better. I mean, I already liked it a lot, but like with the vest, I think it's really it's way better. So that I don't normally even play rhythm games, but once I got this B Haptics vest, that's what really got me to keep it. Playing these rhythm games with this vest because I don't know, it's just so much better. And like when you hit the cymbals, you know, when you get charged up, the vest, you know, it vibrates all around you like it's electricity. And every drum hit is vibrating. But I think you might get annoyed by that, right? You know, it's too much vibration.
I guess it really depends on the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe in a music game it's fine. Like
Okay.
the my criticism for too much vibration is if you're playing a gun game, then if you have it's constantly vibrating, then you lose the benefit of understanding when you're getting shot, right? Which is you know, it's an alert. But yeah, dude, I'm glad you're finding value in the vest. That's awesome. I'm happy
Yeah,
for you.
definitely. And so brand new DLC just came out. It's paid. It was like $5 and you get 6 new songs. So I tried that last night. One of the songs was 12 and a half minutes long and like really fast, even on the easiest setting. Um, so that was pretty crazy. So then I did Half-Life Alyx with the vest also. And going back to Half-Life Alyx, I just felt like this game is so slow. I don't know if you've ever gone back to it and played any of these
I
these
haven't
workshop levels or anything.
I have not. We're almost on the 2-year anniversary of that game.
Yeah. Y- y- Maybe there's a way, there probably is a way to make your movement faster in that game. I need to look that up. But like after playing these games that I'm used to, like Pop One and Compound and everything else, man, I feel slow in that game.
By the way, I'm Ragnarok. So we must have missed it. It came out on Quest in October.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'll have to hop back in now that I got the vest, and you know the rhythm games are always fun to play for me for like 20 minutes, and then I
Yeah.
sort of put it on the shelf for God knows how long. But it'd be cool to play like a multiplayer game again with people or friends.
Yeah, I did multiplayer with Goran and 2 other guys.
Okay. From
Was it
our
this?
Discord.
Yeah, from the Discord. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, there's a plug for our Discord. Highly recommend. If you're listening to join that, that's a really really good community. There you should be able to find a link on the VR Gaming Podcast Twitter page, or you can just, if for some reason you're having trouble, you can reach out to um, VR Gaming Podcast at gmail.com. I think that's what it's called. but yeah. Yeah, VR Gaming Podcast at gmail.com if you can't get it from the Twitter, but there you go.
All right. Then I played Contractors with you. We were both using our vests. You had some vest issues, but was that just like a setting? Was that all it was, or did it
No, there's
stop
a bug.
working?
There's
Oh,
a
it was
bug with it. Yeah.
Okay.
You might have gotten lucky. I don't know if you've
Mm-hmm.
gone back in and tried to play it, but other people are having the issue where it's like you enable it, it doesn't work, then you leave and come back and it might work. So that was frustrating.
Ragnarok has that same issue, where sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
And
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know. I blame the developer.
Yeah, yeah. And then we noticed that some of the levels in Contractors looked great and some looked like shit, just like in Onward.
Yeah, and I know Contractors got like custom maps just recently, so I don't know if it's because of that or if it's something else. But yeah, the quality is kind of all over the board on
Yeah.
that game. We were gonna review it this podcast, but we'll do it some other time, maybe if ever. You and I are like lukewarm on that game. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, yeah. So then I played Walkabout with some people from a different Discord. I haven't played that game enough. I played Compound, of course. Still trying to unlock all the trophies in that game. I did a little bit of Cookout. I didn't play it with anybody. I just did like the tutorial and maybe the first level. I think that was on sale or something. Or maybe I got it in a bundle. That might have been what it was. I did Grapple Tournament. Did you get that?
Grapple Tournament. I think I did. That's around the time I was playing like Hyper Dash, because it's kind of like that, right? It's a or like an arena shooter, you want to call it.
Yeah, but you can it's like Windlands where you can shoot out a rope
Yeah.
and pull yourself.
Yeah. Did you like that?
I only did like the intro and I didn't get time to actually play with people.
Gotcha.
But I was curious what you think of it if you remember it.
It didn't. There might be a good game there. It just didn't grab me the way like like Hyper Dash did. Like I haven't played Hyper Dash in a while, but I think it's a really fun kind of game to go in and jump in and shoot around. And I don't know. I preferred Hyper Dash over that, so I never really went back.
You probably don't play Hyper Dash because of Population 1.
Yeah, Population 1 is just like I'll have limited free time, and there's games that just grab my attention, and Pop 1 has been the dominant one for the last few months. They've been crushing it, especially with the events and the updates. Like, they keep on pulling me back in. That's what a good game does. I think if they weren't doing any updates or events, I wouldn't be playing it as much, right? But they keep on giving me a reason to return to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, so then The Dark Method is this game that like I had my eye on for a while because it had good reviews, but it's one of these games, it's it's an indie, it might be one developer, where like it has good reviews, then you play it and you're like, why does this have good reviews? And then I looked at the reviews closer and I was like, well, most of the reviewers had like very few reviews. And that's when I'm like, oh, this is a bunch of fake reviews.
Bunch of bullshit, yeah.
Yeah,
you come across those, yep.
Yeah. So either he got his friends or he paid somebody, I don't know, to do that. Because I refunded it.
The other option is actually making a good game.
Yeah, that's the other one, yeah. It felt like an early VR game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, and the retail, I think the full price is like $25, but it was on sale. I can't remember what I got it for. So then there was this Steam Next Fest thing again where there's a bunch of free, demos, and a lot of them were shit, but I listed here some that were interesting. There's Green Hell. That was already a flat game, but they made a VR version of it, and it's similar to The Forest, but probably not as good as The Forest from what I saw. The performance was an issue. Everyone had an issue with performance. Even people with 3080s, 3090s, so they're gonna have to fix that. It's gonna come out on Quest too, so I don't know how they're gonna have to really dial back on Quest to make it perform.
Yeah, dude, I don't. That's maybe I feel like they're like, let's do a VR thing, and then they're discovering that you can't just build
Yeah.
a VR game on top of a 2D game.
Yeah, I know. And like the interactions with stuff, it was a lot of the stuff you have to. I don't remember the forest, how you pick things up. Do you have to do it all? Like if there's a log on the ground, do you have to get down, like crouch and pick it up? Or is there
Can't
a
remember.
little, I don't know if there's like a little like circle that indicates that you've selected that item?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Because that's how it works in this game. Like you're standing and you just like point down and like you see this little circle that indicates, all right, this item is selected, and then you just hold grip.
It's probably not too far from that,
Uh huh.
and maybe it's a little
Okay.
better, but it's definitely not like like a real VR game.
Okay. All right. Then I played Buccaneers: The New Age of Piracy. I thought this game was really cool. You're a pirate. You pilot, or you're the captain of a ship, and you have and you're controlling the ship, and you have guys that are manning the cannons, and you're shooting at other ships. And then you can also, you set sail to certain destinations. So then you get on land and you're walking around towns and talking to people, and you're going to shops and you're getting new missions. And I thought it was really interesting. The graphics were like the Morrigan level,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
it's stylized, right? Like
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
small development team, that's a way to get around that. But
But I thought it was cool, so I wish listed that. Then the other one that's worth talking about is
do you ever
called.
play the game Sid Meier's Pirates back in the day?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Is that a PC game?
Oh yeah, it's from like the '90s, and then they made like versions even in the 2000s. But I
No,
think that's kind of like
I
the
don't.
concept of like getting pirate ships, upgrading, going to town,
Okay.
buying stuff. Looks like this is like a simplistic VR version of it. I didn't play Buccaneers, but that's the sense that I got.
Okay. And so the last one we're talking about is We Are One. This is a puzzle game, and the graphics are really cool. So like the backgrounds are black and white, but then like the actual characters and the enemies are like really vivid. Like it's really high contrast is what it looks like. So that drew me in. And then it messes with time. So you're gonna go in and maybe shoot an enemy and then throw a gun over a wall, and then you're going to rewind time, and then you're going to go to the other side of the wall and then wait for your previous version of yourself to throw that gun over to you, and then you're going to do whatever you need with that gun on the other side of the wall. So there was another VR game called Transposed that has a similar uh, theme, a similar idea there. That game was too hard for me. I tried to beat it and I couldn't. I wasn't smart enough. But yeah, this game, I'm interested in that. I wish listed that one, and
Gotcha.
that's it.
Random thought. Whatever happened to Servios?
Um, what's their last game?
Well,
They had a pirate. They had a pirate game.
their last game that they put out for VR was Walking Dead Onslaught, which was
Oh,
garbage, and that
that's
was
what
in
happened to Servius.
20 September 2020, and then they put out a 2D version of Creed in
Oh
September
yeah,
2021. So yeah,
they emailed me and gave me a free key to and wanted me to play that, and I forgot to.
yeah, they're dead basically, right? Like
Yeah,
that's some backpedaling shit.
yeah. Yeah, maybe after Walking Dead Onslaught, maybe they just gave up on VR. I don't know.
I don't know. They must have made some money off of Quest though when they
Oh
just
yeah,
put
and they
video
have
games
Creed.
there.
They have Creed, the VR version on Quest. That
Yeah,
probably sells a lot.
they probably did all right. Yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. Anyways, all
Yeah.
right. So what did I play? I played Vox Machinae, which we're going to review. I played Pop One, of course, which I mentioned. I played Contractors, which is meh. I hopped back into After the Fall just because I hadn't been in there for a while. So I wish I want to pull like a George Lucas and just go back in time and change my rating from like 9 to like 7 of that game. I was kind of hot on it. I was like, oh, game of the year. Like I was just kind of. It's like a game that I wanted to be good, or what's there is okay, but there's just not enough content. And they just added a horde mode, so I hopped in right before this podcast to check it out, and it's exactly like you would think it is. It's just you go in there and you just stay in one spot, basically like a little small area, and you just shoot waves of boring zombies. Like it's just like 2016 VR, and
Hmm.
slap that mode in there and like they're doing work. It's just the game is
Yeah,
such a disappointment because they have the foundation of game and they just don't have the content.
Yeah, Arizona Sunshine had that same mode, that same horde thing.
Yeah, it's I quit. I like it was just going on, and like the first few levels of horde mode's always boring. You're just like wasting your time.
Yeah.
You want to get to the part where it's if the game was good, it would probably let you start at like wave 10 or something. But
Hmm.
whatever. So that's that. Played Resident Evil 2. It's I don't know why I do this to myself. I not a huge Resident Evil fan, but I really wanted this to be something better than it is. But I'm annoyed when games are in reprojection. I'm annoyed by the head bobbing, which I'll work on fixing. Um, it's all right. I feel like I bought all these games when they were on sale, and it's probably just wasted money. But maybe one day I'll pop back in. We'll see. And then I just hopped in Onward, kind of to compare a little bit to Contractors and just see that. But most of this time was spent playing Vox Machinae. Like that was my jam. All right. We'll talk more about that. So I'm not gonna spoil anything. We'll make you guys get past the news. But speaking
Okay.
of news, it's all you, man.
All right. So some of the big news this month was the PSVR 2. They actually showed images of it, and it looks to me very similar to the original PSVR. It's white and black, but the front has 4 cameras, just like Quest. And there's an attached cable on the left side of the rear headband. Some people were upset that it didn't look like it's detachable. And also, it's kind of weird that like they don't put the cable in the back. Instead, it's on like the left side, like kind of near your ear. But I'm sure you can just route it maybe with a cable tie because the original might be the same way. Then they said they're going to have ventilation to prevent fogging. I think it's just going to be basically holes, and I don't. They didn't say anything about a fan or active ventilation or anything. It doesn't have built-in audio. The original PSVR didn't either, so it came with earbuds. So I'm assuming this will too. I don't think they actually said that, but it probably will come with earbuds. I ended up modding on some other like Mantis headphones myself because like if I wanted to put someone else into VR, I didn't really want to. Who wants to use someone else's earbuds? Like, would you want to do that?
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah. So that's
it's
why I put.
disgusting.
Yeah, exactly. So they said it's going to have a slight weight reduction, and there's a leak from I think PSVR without parole. They said they have some sources saying this thing's going to come out in early 2023. Most people are hoping late 2022, but rumors are early 2023. And supposedly there have already been like over 2,000 dev kits sent out to developers since October of 2021.
Hmm.
So hopefully lots of stuff's in the works.
Yeah, I mean they got their work cut out for themselves with the fact that Quest 2 exists. Like
Yeah.
they're kind of crushing it with that.
It's probably going to be the vast majority just older games just ported to PSVR 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gabe Newell said about Steam Deck and high performance standalone VR, quote, "We're not really there yet, but this is a stepping stone." So that was kind of deflating.
Dude,
Um,
super disappointed in Valve.
yeah.
Like they showed a commitment to VR. They're
Hmm.
working on Half-Life Alex, which is a phenomenal game, like a must-have game. They come out with the Index. This is all the way back in 2020. They did right with the Index at this point.
I
2020.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So is it 2020 or is it 2019?
I can't remember.
Dude, I have no fucking concept of time.
Yeah.
I think it came out in 2019.
Yeah, it very well might have.
But they were showing that they're invested in it, and now nothing. Like
Yeah.
no other VR games. Like come on. Like the way they have the thing is, the interesting thing is Valve is not like other companies where they just make money off the sales of games with their platform, so they can fuck around, they can be creative, they can take risks. A lot of places can't take risks. They can totally do that. but they also need to be the competitor and to take down Facebook and compete against them and offer not take them down, but just to provide some competition in the marketplace. And I'm not, based on what you said and that article, it's like we're not going to see anything from Valve in a long time in terms of VR, which is really sad.
Yeah, I wish they could just do an Index 2 and just forget about the standalone shit and just like give us wireless or, higher res, just something. Of course, higher res means even worse performance, so maybe we don't need that.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know
Uh,
why they couldn't have focused an effort on making this wireless. Like,
yeah.
enough time has gone by since the production and the release of the Index. Like, why can't we have that now?
Yeah, I think they acted like they were working on an adapter or something for Index.
I mean,
So
it seems like a next logical step.
yeah.
We've had wireless VR with, Vive was doing it. There's
Mhm.
that port in the front of the
Mhm.
Index where you can plug in a USB for something. So,
Yeah.
like, they obviously like had that as an option or an idea at some point, and it seems like they clearly have given up on it.
Maybe Steam Deck just took all the resources and they're just focused on that. I don't know.
Probably. Yeah.
Eh,
I mean, I get throwing everything behind one product and making sure that product's good. Hopefully, the Steam Deck out, they just regroup and get back to VR because we need to keep on pushing this platform forward. And especially now that you've got so many more people into VR than when you did in 2019 when you released the Index. And you've got all this base of players that are on Quest 2, and a lot of those have PCs and are connecting their Quest 2 to the PC. You've got a bigger market now, and you've got all the Index One owners who are licking their lips ready for what's next.
And here's what I'm wondering. So the Steam Deck, it's an x86 based thing. It's all PC components, and the battery. So it only lasts 1.5 to 2 hours from what I'm reading, because PC components like they require more power than like an ARM CPU, which is what running Android. Like what's in Quest, that's ARM. That's way more power efficient. Um, and so the Steam Deck, it runs out of energy 1.5 to 2 hours. That's at 1280 by 800 resolution at 60 hertz. So I don't know if they're trying to make this standalone VR be x86, and like you need a monster battery to like last long enough at the resolution needed in the hertz. So maybe I don't, because Steam is all x86 PC based. I don't know if it's taken them a while to like move to mobile, systems, like, or if they're just trying to figure out how they can best optimize a PC standalone headset, like PC based hardware inside the headset. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
I know the radio silence is deafening, right? And
Hmm.
that's kind of their MO, but hard to believe that we're in 2022 and there's nothing on the horizon for PC folks to like look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, there was that Pimax thing that was was a joke, and then that thing just totally disappeared. Um, what the
Yeah,
hell was that thing called?
I don't know, Pimax garbage,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
garbage
So
2.0.
yeah. So Mark Zuckerberg did an interview where he said face and eye tracking are their focus over making headsets thinner and lighter. And
Yeah, because he wants his stupid Horizon things. He wants
ex-
everybody just living in like little closets in this metaverse.
exactly. And I think he wants to be able to track where you're looking, so they can, sell that and better serve you ads.
I don't doubt it, dude.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. Fuck Meta.
And okay, as far as upcoming new releases, the only ones I can think of, Moss 2 is coming out March 31st, but it's PSVR only. And that was like I think for like 4 months it was the original was PSVR only, and then it came to PC. So I'm just gonna wait for PC on that one. Then there's this game Tentacular that's coming out March 24th on Steam and Quest. The publisher is Devolver Digital, which has made a lot of like really good games. So this might be good. It's a weird premise where you're a sea monster with tentacles, and but you're not just like smashing the town. You're actually helping the people and building structures and things. But like, I think you can go nuts and smash the town if you want to. I think there's an actual story involved. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It looks like a little kids game, and
It does. Yeah, the graphics are kiddie.
Devolver Digital is a good publisher though. Like when they
Yeah,
like you got my attention when you said that publisher's name.
yeah. What's the shadow something? Um, I can't remember the name of it. Like part 3 just came out. Um, it's some sort of crazy ass FPS type of game. If you click on Devolver Digital on Steam, you'll see like so many games they've come out with.
Oh, Shadow Warrior.
Shadow Warrior.
That
There
game
you go.
was around the '90s, like you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like the first Devolver game I think I remember playing was Hotline Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great game.
Yeah.
They published Gorn. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I didn't realize that either.
Maybe they're a new publisher to it or something. Maybe not the original. I don't know. But yeah, they're listed there. Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, so Ultra Wings 2 got delayed. It's coming for on Steam at least. It's coming out April 2022. That's that, flying game where you actually use motion controls to control your plane and you can shoot and stuff. So that's it for releases I know. Do you know of any others?
No, sadly, no. I mean,
Okay.
there's always ones that kind of come out and surprise us, and
Yeah.
I think the once a month podcast is pretty good because we can usually find something to at least be like, oh, that's not bad, and here's a recommendation. This is how I'm going to segue. Our review for this month is Vox Machinae. It's by Space Bullet Dynamics Corporation. It originally came out in September 26, 2018, long ago. Why this has kind of garnered our attention again is it popped up, I think, in kind of like the new releases because they added a single player campaign on March 3rd, 2022. So it's almost like I think a lot of people might be looking at this game like it just came out or it's like new. And then I think like last month they just put it on Quest too. So this is I don't know. It's really I played this game. Well, let me say the price. The price is $24.99. It's currently sitting at 90% on Steam and I think Quest as well. It's getting good reviews. Although not a lot of reviews, but a lot of good reviews. So, I got this game when it first came out and way back in 2018, which is hard to believe. That's almost 4 years ago. People have had kids, and those kids are like in preschool at this point, in between this game coming out and kind of this relaunch, if you want to call it. And I actually went back and I saw that I did a review of it and was saying how good the graphics are and stuff. But it was what was there at the time was just a multiplayer game, and it seemed really good. And it didn't have a huge base of players, and I played it and liked it, but it never really stuck. Maybe I put a couple hours into it. And then when I saw this come out again, it was like, oh, let's see what they've done in 4 years, and I was kind of intrigued by the single player game aspect of it. And will be an interesting review because I've spent like all my time. I've got over 12 hours now, and like almost like all that time is multiplayer. And you've gone through the entire single player campaign.
Yeah, almost all of my time is in the campaign.
Perfect. Thank you. Somebody had to do it. All right. Well, the overview and objective of the game is this is a mech game. You're in giant mechs. All right. And I can speak to the multiplayer perspective. You've got your regular death match. You can do up to 16 player games, so 8 mechs versus 8 mechs, or you can branch off in teams of 3 or teams of 4. You've got another mode where you're doing like a salvage mode where like a random point will appear on the map and everybody goes to that point and tries to capture this. Like it's kind of like King of the Hill. Try to capture that point, but like the point fights back at you because the salvage is like this kind of huge tank that will also fire upon the enemy mechs. What other modes do we have in there? There's like capture points and like the capture points, like if you capture the like fuel depot, and your team controls the fuel depot, you'll have more like jump jets available and fuel to use. So good variety of options in multiplayer. And then this is like a simulation style mech game, right? This is not like an arcade game where you just kind of like simple, really quick run and gun. These things lumber around slowly. There's a lot of different mechs to choose from. I mean, there's more nimble mechs that can kind of move quicker, and there's like slower ones that just can take more damage. There's easier mechs to use for somebody who's just playing the game for the first time, and then there's mechs that require a lot of experience with the game, and I think that's really good. Um, I grew up, and I remember back in the 90s, I was super intrigued by the Mech Warrior series, and I had Mech Warrior 2 was my first mech game, and I really have good memories of that game. And I remember getting Mech Warriors Mercenary like a year or two after that game, and I never played mech games after that, but like I've always kind of maybe want to call it Titanfall is like a little bit of a mech game, but I always liked like Mech Warrior 2, and this game gives me a lot of Mech Warrior 2 vibes to it. Being able to target like limbs on the mech and blow off like legs under arms. Just the kind of like the movement speed of it, where it's more kind of working strategically as a team and positioning rather than having like one player dominate in like a more kind of arcade style game. This is coordination. This is managing your movement speed. This is rotating. So like if you're taking damage in the front, you let them hit your back or side. This is managing kind of like your jump jets and the amount of maybe doing bursts of the jump jets, or not going up with your jump jets really high and then crashing down and losing a leg because you didn't manage it. So that's good knowing going into it. I mean, if you're old like me and you've played like MechWarrior 2 back in the day or MechWarrior Mercenaries, then I think you're gonna instantly, this is gonna feel like a dream come true, because now you're actually in the mech controlling it. So before I go any further, Justin, what would you like to add to that, like kind of the overview and objectives?
Just that I don't know if they already was this way, but you can play this in non-VR too. So that helps with multiplayer. I don't know how many people are in there playing with
That's
just a
right.
regular screen.
Yeah, they came out with that maybe a couple years ago, but that's right. That's awesome that they did that. I mean, the fact that this came out on the Quest really has given this game new life. Not
Yeah.
only the single player game that will, I think, draw some people in there, but the fact that it came out on the Quest is awesome. And this is when I'm like, good job, Meta. As much bad that you guys do, you've resurrected this game, and I'm thrilled about it because now there's a good player base in there. So that's good news. And I think that they were making this game way back in maybe 2014. I mean, this game has been worked on for
Yeah.
a long time. And I think they also have like some kind of investing. I don't know if Meta or Facebook invested a little bit into them, but they might have gotten money from Oculus back in the day, but they had a budget to work on it, and it definitely shows.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, and the graphics I think are really impressive inside the mech, and then even the terrain when you're walking around.
Yeah, this is one of the this game has some of the best graphics in VR, full stop. And it's funny after playing like Population One for so long, and some other games that have kind of cross compatibility with Quest. We've always said, "Oh, God damn you, Quest! You've given us these PC games with bad graphics." This is not the case at all. This was a PC game first and foremost, so they instead of downgrading the graphics on the PC to make it work on Quest, they just made a Quest version that works, unlike Onward. And the when I jumped in the game, I was like, oh my God, this game looks really good. And that was like my review back in 2018. It looked good then. It looks just as great now. Just even small, subtle effects, like when your mech kind of opens up, I even see like kind of like this dirt fall from it. There's a lot of like just really crisp, nice detail and touches. The explosion effects, the lasers, the like anti-aliasing is really good. And on top of all that, the game runs like a dream. I run it at 90 hertz. I've got anti-aliasing on. I've got it cranked up a little bit in the super sampling, and I've got like everything on kind of like high. And this game looks really, really good. The terrain looks really good for especially for VR. But not only VR, I think it just looks good. Period, and it runs great. Like this is a really well polished game. This is almost like it's like there must be something that keeps it from being a AAA game, but it might as well be a AAA game the way it looks and behaves and acts.
Yeah, I agree. And like even touches like inside the cockpit, like you look up and the cables are swaying as your mech is walking. Did you
Yeah,
notice
dude.
that?
No, I didn't, but that's I it's like I didn't focus on noticing it, but like that's
Hmm.
part of like that this general sense when you're playing like this is a polished game, it's good. But like yeah, that's that level of detail. It's you can tell a lot of love in this game. You can tell it's been developed for a while. And I'm really excited, dude. I like this game a lot. I'm so happy that it didn't die on the vine because there was something there, and I think it's just gonna grow and get more attention, and has the chance for even more expansion on it.
When you did multiplayer, were there levels? Were there space levels for you? Because in the campaign, there's all these different. There's desert, lightning levels, lava, snow, and then space. You're flying around in space.
Yeah, there's all that but space. There's no space
Oh,
level, which
okay.
is weird for a mech game that there's a
Yeah.
space thing. Like that doesn't seem to make sense at all. But I guess you can
You'll,
launch a mech in space.
you're flying around like from astro. It's like a ton of asteroids, and it's like you're mining asteroids, and you're just like it's a different type of mech that you're in. That I guess was made for that mission, and yeah, it was. I did it in my video. I show a mission where I'm fighting a giant sandworm, and then the next mission is the space mission. So you could see what that looks like. It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the single player campaign, right? This
Okay.
is the as they advertise it, they've been quietly working on it.
Hmm.
I don't think it was on anybody's radar that it wasn't on ours, and they launched it, and it's I think a 10 mission campaign,
Hmm.
and you've got everything from voice actors in it. I use the term maybe loosely to
Hmm.
like after you do a mech battle, you go like back to your ship and you actually can walk around the ship and talk to
Yeah.
characters. I'm gonna bow out really quickly because I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
I got so annoyed with the campaign. Like it started off fine because it starts you in your mech, and
Hmm.
then when it takes you back to your base, it's like you got to have these conversations,
Yeah.
and they're just painfully boring. Like,
Yeah.
dude, like this is it's like I want to be in this giant fucking mech shooting things, but you're making me have these stupid inane conversations. There's like one point it's like go see the chef, and you go and see the
Yeah.
chef. He's like, I need to ask you if you have food allergies. Are you allergic to seafood? And you got like type on your wrist like yes or no. Are you allergic to this? Are you? And he's like, okay, now go talk to that person. And then you go talk
Yeah.
to the engineer. He's like, "Can you hand me the wrench?" And you just like, this fucking wants a wrench. Like, I look at the wrench, it's to my right. I hand it to me. He's like, "Thank you." I'm like, "What is the fucking point of this?" Like, somebody had a good idea in that
Yeah.
team to do a campaign, and great. I would love a
Hmm.
single player campaign. That's how I played Mech Warrior 2. I'd like to have some kind of feel the world, have a little bit of a story. Why am I doing this? But the execution could not be worse with those moments where you are like on the ship and they're painfully boring, they're slow, they're tedious. There's absolutely no reason for it. I don't care about any of the characters. They're not interesting. And I feel bad because they wasted time on that. Where I think a better way of doing it is just, okay, put me in a mission and tell the story through the mission, through the characters. I don't need to be on the ship walking around doing stuff. Or if I have to be on the ship walking around, make it like 5 minutes instead of 15. And even 5 minutes is probably too long. So I've played through because I wanted to see what some of the missions look like. I played through only two of the missions. And then again, this comes down to there's only so much time to play games. I went back into multiplayer because I'm having an absolute blast in multiplayer. So you, on the other hand, God bless you, you somehow trudged through all the missions. So what's your take on them?
It's the same basically, but I don't know. Like I think I hate myself or something, and I want to subject myself to pain. I'm a what is that? I can't remember. A masochist perhaps.
It's a masochist, yeah.
Yeah, it's a masochist. So I don't know. I have this thing where like once I start a game, a lot like especially because I like the mech part so much, I'm like, I gotta get through this. I have to beat this game and see the credits. Like, and I don't know why I have that sickness,
It's good
but
follow through. It's like a good follow through quality in life to an extent, right?
my wife would tell you I don't follow through enough in real life, but
Your video game follow through game is off the
yeah,
charts.
yeah. Maybe that's why I can't do it in real life. I do it all in. I've just exhausted all I can in video games. Something. So yeah, I agree with everything you said. Uh, so yeah, you're in the mech, you're doing those missions. It's great, and there's a video screen where your team is talking to you, so they can do all the story then. Um, but then once you've completed your mission, you go back to the ship every time, and then you're walking around doing these ridiculous things. You're walking around looking for party favors because they're gonna have a party, and you have to go to every single person in the ship. So it's gonna take you a while to even just find them all, and then you have to initiate the dialogue. You have to keep pressing the A button to like keep making them talk, and like eventually they've said enough things, and then it's going to count to the game that okay, you've completed talking to that person. Now you got to go to this person, and there's like something like 10 characters in this game. There's a lot of people to talk to. There's even a droid guy that you have to talk to a lot, and sometimes he'll be like, "Hey, I don't know where my book went. Can you find my book?" And then you got to go walking around the ship.
You're the droid's bitch.
Yeah, finding a book for this droid, and he's probably the best character in the game, actually. And he looks like Johnny Five from Short Circuit, so maybe that's why I like him. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that part's torturous. You go through all that, talking to, like you said, the chef, talking to and their animations are really weird. Some of them, they're just like their torsos rotate while they're talking, and like their arms and hands will clip into their body.
Yeah, I saw the clipping. That was really weird and obvious because they all did it. Like it wasn't just like a little bit of clipping. It was just like right out of the gate, it's clipping.
Yeah, I don't know how. Maybe that's something that's so many games have clipping issues. Maybe that's something that's hard to fix. Because like they're odd. They seem
this is like
obvious.
The worst I've seen it in a game.
Yeah,
in a VR game.
And there are all these and there were times where I actually got stuck because I was like, what have I not done to trigger the next bullshit? So like I had to actually go on the fucking Steam page, the discussions, and read, and like someone was like, oh, when I got to that part, I had to stand in a specific spot and then press the A button, and then it triggered the next thing. I was like, fuck. So then it's things like that. But I suffered through all that just so I could do the mech missions. And I mean, the ship, when you're walking around the ship, it's a first person view. Since this game is a seated game, I just stayed seated instead of like because you do a mech mission, then you do a walking around the ship mission, then you do.
They should have put the character in a wheelchair.
Yeah, they should have. Yeah, that would have made more sense. So I ended up using both analog sticks, whereas I normally just do all physical turn in most VR games. But this is a seated game. And the ship, it looked good. I thought that looked pretty good in there. And obviously, like we already said, the mech itself, that's awesome. The voice, the voice acting, I thought was good enough. I know some people have said it was bad, but I think it's about the best you're gonna get for a made for VR indie game.
Yeah, I mean it's at the level of VR, right? Like it's not terrible, but it's nothing if you're putting out a bigger game. Was it the guy? Was the British guy? Is this the guy from VR Oasis? Was that his voice?
I
sounded like him.
I heard on his podcast he brought that up, that people were saying that, and that no, it wasn't him.
That's fucking hilarious that it wasn't him, because it sounded just like him, and they probably could have gotten him to do it for free or something. I don't know,
he definitely would have done it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so, and he's got a distinctive voice. I mean, God, how many people are walking around sounding like him? That's great. All right.
Yeah, I bet a lot of these British. Sorry, I bet a lot of these British YouTubers get a lot of extra views just because of their voices. Like
probably, yeah,
because they just sound more sophisticated than us, at least to us.
Yeah, keep going on with this single player campaign that I've really saved moments of my life. I'm loving it.
Yeah, so I don't know, as far as the sound and the music, do you remember the sound much? It has a paid soundtrack on Steam. and
Um,
I don't really remember.
yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I saw the paid soundtrack, and it's just like I was like, well, who the hell wants to listen to this music? Like
Mm,
it's kind of like atmospheric music, and I think it's
yeah.
good for the game. Like you don't want to have like amped up metal or electronica music that's like I don't think that because it's more of like a slower pace, strategic, methodical simulation. And
Hmm.
I think the music can be described as more kind of like ambient electronica, and it's fine, but it's like yeah, your soundtrack is not something that I can't imagine too many people are rushing to get.
Hmm.
Um, it's not bad. It's like I think it falls in the category it does the job without being remarkable.
Yeah, and the sound effects, I don't know. They they're convincing. I don't really remember. You
Yeah,
know.
they seem pretty good. The kind of like your AI robot like who
Yeah.
talks to you. Like
Hmm.
I wish it was. Have you ever played MechWarrior 2?
No,
Ever
I've
play the
never
beta?
played any MechWarrior game.
I like that voice. I wish it was. I wish they just blatantly copied that voice. This
Okay.
voice is okay, but I like. I mean, it's just my personal preference. I'd rather have that style of voice. But what it does good in like in multiplayer, it will say the name of the other like you killed Mame Fam,
Hmm.
and it says their name, and that's pretty cool. So I like again like it's a nice little touch.
Did you know there's a MechWarrior 5 VR mod?
Yeah, I'm sure it's terrible. I'm just like
Probably.
these VR mods, like, God, like, it's you get excited, but the jank and like, I think I don't want to get too derailed, but it's always
Hmm.
like it makes me be like, oh, so close, but
Hmm.
I don't want
Yeah.
to compromise. But yeah,
Okay, so I don't know. You want to go into controls, or do you want me to tell you more stories from the campaign? Because
well, were when you actually got in the missions, were the missions good?
oh yeah, the missions were yeah, I like the missions. You on the map it'll show you like the direction of your objective. So you put your throttle forward, and then you start lumbering towards your objective, and then of course you use the jump jets to try to get there faster. And so usually there's a place on the map. Let me get there, and that's going to trigger like maybe there's some building there that is gonna they're gonna be like, oh well, this is something happened here. It's on. Oh shit, it's on fire. Why is this on fire? And then we have to like go around more and figure out. And then you'll end up seeing some mysterious other mech, and you're like, wait, is that who's been fucking with our buildings? And then it'll fly away, and there's some sort of mystery in this thing where you don't know who's who's damaging your team's equipment, and I think you end up finding out later on. Um, and yeah, and sometimes you'll come across you'll adversary mechs, and you have to fight them. Um, and like I said, sometimes you're flying in space, and it changes it up enough yeah, every mission I liked and looked forward to.
Yeah. I just last comment on that is I find it funny. There must have been people on that dev team was just like this is like they must have known how bad like the moments are where you got to walk around the ship and do like this bullshit like
Hmm.
exercises and like they've got an awesome game that you're just kind of waiting to play in these missions. So I've got to laugh. Like whoever was on that team was it's a good I told you so moment because I don't think anybody likes this bullshit that you got to go through on the ship. So
Yeah.
and that's not to say like I'm really glad that team put in a single player campaign. I I saw the dev comment on Oculus Quest review because somebody was
Hmm.
complaining about it, and the dev was like, "Oh, you can hold down B to skip the dialogue, or you could teleport around fast." But that's still way too long. What they really need to do is to go back in there and put an option to just play the missions and like
Yeah.
to go through the story via missions and just to skip that part. Like should pop up. Do you want to do the ship part of the story? Or do you want to get to the next mission? And like fucking next mission, pronto.
Yeah. That would be much better. Yeah. So in each on the ship mission, so you have to walk around and talk to everyone and collect items and whatever. And then even after that, then there's now we're gonna do a briefing. We're gonna tell you what your next mission is. They could just make it. You just go straight to the briefing.
Yeah, I think that'd be okay. Straight to the
Yeah.
briefing would be fine. Like, again, I'd still just want to hop in, but like that's like tolerable in my
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And the
yeah,
briefings are really short. I mean, they're only it could be
yeah.
just a couple minutes.
That's how they should have done it.
Yeah.
100%. Tell the story. Like I know what you were talking about in that one mission where like there's a lot of voice comm chatter from the mechs on your side,
Yeah.
and the story like the story unfolds through the gameplay. That's how you do it. That's how you
Yeah.
do it. That's how you do it. I will say before I forget, the game has a really good training mode. I don't know if you went to any of those modules.
I think so.
So the game is like, I mean, there's like a training when you load it up, but then you can actually do like advanced training.
I don't remember. Maybe I didn't do the advanced training.
Yeah, this game is like, it's easy to hop in. I'm kind of blending our sections, but it's easy to hop in and just start playing in many ways. It's like simple to pick up, tough to master. And that's what's like awesome about it. That's like a mark of a good game, right? So I've spent hours just playing a multiplayer, and then I'm like, kind of figuring out stuff as I go along. But then I'm like, I want to kind of learn the nuances that some people seem to understand. So I've not even gone through all the trainings, but there's advanced training. It's like, here's advanced training on like this type of weapon, and the training could be like a solid 10 minutes long and really teaches you about that weapon. This is a training on how to use this mech and what this mech's like focus and abilities are. It's really good. Like, and this under the hood, there's just I like this game the more and more I play it, which is a really like I liked it out of the get go. So it's not like you've got to invest a lot of time to like it and find out it's good. Like, no, you probably as soon as you hop into this game, you're gonna be like, yeah, this is great, I like it, and it only gets better. It's like a slow burn, and like you don't need to go through all those advanced trainings, but it's definitely as you play the game more, you're gonna probably want it, and you're gonna want to get better. And then the thing about the multiplayer matches that I played in, like there was never really any blowouts per se. Like it always just felt pretty good and balanced. It always felt close and competitive. They've got a good game here. They've got a good game here from that perspective. Speaking of controls, this is a game that you use your motion controls for. So like to go forward, you take your hand and you grab like the shift, and you like it's like like an automatic kind of shifter in a car, and you're like going 4 speed or 3 or reverse. And then on your right, there's like another thing where you grip the controller and you turn your Mac left and right. Then there's another thing, you take your hand off and you pull up this thing, and that will like kind of be like a jump jet for your Mac. There's a horn you can pull, which is hilarious, like in a multiplayer here, and all these horns going off. When you want to bail out of your mech, you pull like an eject thing. So it's all with motion controls. It's very interactive. It's simplistic enough in a way, in a good way. It's not overly complex to use. So I was really impressed with that. They just need to add in the individual fingers, which would be nice. But I mean, that's it's not really a knock. It's just a nice thing to have.
And it's look to aim, which makes it more accessible.
Hell yeah.
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 Versus
So I mean,
having to line up exactly like with analog sticks, or if you had to line up your shot, like say if it was fixed in the center of your mech and then you had to line it
Yeah.
up with the sticks inside the game, that would be tough.
no, the controls like are as good as you could possibly get. It just feels great. It's just so well done. Somebody in our Discord asked if they had like HOTAS support. It's like this game, if you're in VR, just play with your hands. Play it like you don't. Some people like just like want HOTAS support and that's it. But I think this game doesn't need anything like that. I don't even know if it has it or not.
The last update I saw it adding multiple HOTAS
Yeah,
support. So
got it. Yeah, and I guess if you have an expensive HOTAS setup, you look for any excuse to pull out that bad boy. But really, I love using my hands and piloting my mech that way. It's great.
yeah. Yeah, that eject handle. One time I was doing a mission and I accidentally pulled it and I just went flying through the air. I was like, what the hell just happened? But luckily the game lets you adjust it so that you can like push it out further, so it's not as much of an issue. So there's a lot of customization.
Yeah, very 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 polished game. This is a VR game done right, for sure. All right, what do you think about the immersion?
It's the most. This is like peak immersion.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
this is a dream. This is a dream come true for like my I don't know how old was I when MechWarrior came out? 16 maybe. If it came out in 96, this is like like I've been in this game. I was like I can't believe I'm seeing this. Like this
yeah,
is kind of I've had so many moments like this is fucking amazing. This is like I'm living the nerd gamer's dream right now.
yeah. Imagine if you had like a butt kicker, or you could wear your haptic vest or something.
That's what I would love to see that. Like this game would haptic vest would be awesome. Just kind of like a low rumble as you move around,
Yeah,
or as your mech is getting hit, like it just rumbles more. Like totally, I want to try to get the devs' attention and just ask them to put that in there
yeah.
because that would be great. That's what it needs.
And even when walking around inside the ship, you have inverse kinematics, so you're seeing your hands and your arms. I mean, it's like your full arms and like
Yeah,
I can't remember when I looked down.
I see.
I
You see
meant
your legs.
you. Okay, you see your legs. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about like the way you communicate in this game is clever. There's like a CB radio kind of thing, like a
Yeah.
walkie-talkie. You grab that's hanging up in your mech. You grab it and you pull it towards yourself, and you just start talking. And then like the other mech pilots can see like your avatar appear, and
Yeah.
there's like you've got like a camera in your mech, so you can look at that and interact with it. And again, just really clever, good immersion things. They could have just had always on chat like every game does, but they're like, let's do this differently. So you actually have to sacrifice a hand as you're trying to pilot this thing, and you grab the mic and you're trying to talk with that. Like I don't know, man. This is I'm really excited for this game. Like I'm really happy that it's out on Quest and it's got a new life, and I hope that the developers find success with it so that they keep on adding things to it, like, seasons or some cool unlocks. I mean, it's nice that you don't have to unlock or grind for things, but I think this is a world that they can keep on working on and adding to the game to keep on pulling you back in. And even I'm going to spend, you know, many more hours with this game. Like I'm hooked on it. And then hopefully we're not even done with it, even though it's a complete game.
Yeah. The one thing about that radio, though, yeah, that's great in multiplayer, but in single player, that you don't even use it because there's no one there to listen to you. Because computers and games aren't to the point where we can actually talk to them and they know what we're saying. But imagine a day when you can do that. You can actually like talk to the game and it can actually respond to you intelligently.
They had that in they had the Watson in Star Trek Bridge Crew, and you could actually give it some orders. But
Oh,
yeah,
really? Hmm.
yeah, it won't be. We're not too far away. If they, there's probably just a time investment into that, right? A
Yeah.
feature.
Like there's a character that's like always giving you shit. That woman, Jess, I think her name is. Like
Yeah,
she's always like sarcastic and has an attitude. So what
yeah.
if you could give her attitude back?
I give her attitude bad by blowing up her Mac. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? All right, man. So for last ability, like I said, I'm gonna spend a lot more time with this game. I love it. I wish I can. I don't know. I will have to see if they have a Discord and start. I want to kind of interact with these devs a little bit. It still says early access game in Steam. I
Hmm.
don't know if that's correct. I don't know if it's a complete game for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know. I couldn't find like a roadmap of where they're going beyond this. They're probably waiting to see what how it's doing. But yeah, like I said, the reviews on Quest are good. The reviews on the PC are good. It's got a good community for sure. So
Has multiplayer changed? Like with this update, did something change with that too?
I'm going back 4 years, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, hard to
I think
tell.
there's
Yeah,
more mechs and probably more weapons and maybe more modes.
more levels
So
maybe.
hard to say. Probably, yeah. Good variety in levels, by the way. I
Yeah.
think the levels are laid out really well, and I don't know, dude. This game is a 9.5 for me. Like,
Oh wow.
I God, it's like, and especially at the price point, $24.99. That's ridiculous. Like, that's a steal for this game.
Yeah.
Um, I'm almost like ignoring the single player in my review. I like it so much from a multiplayer aspect. I almost ding it for the single player, but I'd just rather ignore that. Hopefully they make the adjustments so you can skip the bullshit parts and just go to the game.
I played this when it first came out in 2018. I played only the multiplayer and I only played it a little bit because like I'm just not that into multiplayer. And of course, I didn't know anybody to play with then. I played the multiplayer once. This time, I did like team deathmatch, and
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why that doesn't do anything for me. I guess it's like I have to have some sort of goal I'm working toward. Yet I'm able to play Pop One and enjoy that. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
Not
yeah, I
sure.
don't. So, so like yeah, campaigns are what usually drive me. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it because I'm really only rating the campaign here. I'm gonna give it an 8. Um, just because what brings it down are those missions in between. Because yeah, everyone I've heard when I beat the game, the trophy or achievement was still 0% have completed the game because so many few people can get through it because of how painful the ship walking around the ship is. Um, no, maybe 8.5.
You know,
8.5.
that's fair. It deserves a major penalty for that was
Yeah.
such an ill-advised idea. Like, I feel like somebody on that team was really pushing for that and driving that forward, and like, and just didn't listen to me. Like, it's just so obviously bad. I'm sure most people playing the game feel that way. That somebody had to really just grind their teeth, like, God damn it, we're adding this in there, and it's just so bad. It just
Yeah.
it literally ruins the single player campaign for me because I'm not going to deal with that bullshit.
Once you beat the levels, it lets you select. So like if you wanted to go back and play, you could go straight to a mech mission. And so like you don't ever have to do those ever again once you've suffered through them once.
I don't even know if this is like imagine this is like your first time putting on VR, like if that would be like, oh cool, there's a character. I don't even think on that
Mm.
level it's good.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, let's bring it on home.
All right.
Any closing thoughts in general for the podcast before we close it out for this month?
Drawing a blank.
Fair enough. We did such a good job. What's left to say?
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Go check out Vox Machinae. It's a great game whether you have it on Quest or if you can get it on PC. I highly recommend it. There's something there if you like single player campaign, even though it's tough at times, or you like multiplayer of the game. I want to see this game do well. It deserves to do well. But other than that, catch you next month. Take care.